them though.
Look at that. And I know.
Okay. Here we go. I'd like to call the village board for Tuesday, November 27th to order. Roll call, please.
Trustee Paul.
Here.
Trustee Zerbal.
Here.
Trustee Mark Williams.
Here.
Trustee Bukowski.
There.
President Kardowski.
Here.
Trustee Allison Williams and Trustee Malcheski are excused this evening.
Okay, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And please remember all our men and women in uniform we have throughout the world. Okay. I have no, oh yes, I do have one change to the agenda. It was an addition about the insurance,
Item 11D, Madam President.
11D.
Make a motion to approve the agenda with the addition.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda with that modification. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Action on the minutes from October 23rd meeting, regular board.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve those minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Any comments from the public must be limited to items not on the agenda. Anybody like to talk about items not on the agenda? Any items not on the agenda? Hearing none, we'll move on. Any written communications? I have none.
None received from the Office of the Clerk Treasurer, Madam
I
President.
got a couple announcements to make, please.
Okay.
First of all, this last weekend and last week, Ashwaubenon High School put on the musical Mamma Mia. If anybody ever think that the community supported this very well, record numbers of were attendance this year. They did a fantastic presentation. They sold out 2 shows out of 5 shows that they had. Over 3,100 people attended this musical, which is a unbelievable amount of people that to support the arts here in Ashwaubenon. So I'd like to, say that thank you to the community for supporting this this construction of the venue, but also to supporting the arts and coming out to see the kids and do some phenomenal things out there. They did an excellent job.
Yep.
I know
Hey.
a couple grandmas who saw it twice. It was a well done, well done.
One of my friends went to it, and she said to me, she said that was just outstanding.
It was.
Absolutely outstanding, so.
Second thing that I want to bring up is something that we're getting national attention for right now, international attention, and that's our unofficial mayor of Ashwaubenon, Smoke the Turkey. As being representative of that area and also the chair of the Deer Turkey Committee, with this worldwide attention and everything, I think that we have to start looking at having this turkey relocated. If somebody hits that turkey or does something to it and takes it out or whatever, they aren't going to live it down for the rest of their lives. They're going to get so much unwanted publicity that I don't think that that they'll stick around this area probably or change their name or something probably. So I'd like to have staff look into the possibility of having that done. Not because that I don't want the turkey here in Ashwaubenon. It's just that I think that for our sake, we don't need any more. We don't need any unwanted publicity.
Yeah, I have a friend that's in the Marine Corps. He's stationed down at Cherry Point in North Carolina, and he called me on Sunday to ask me about the official mayor of Ashwaubenon. So, yeah, it was pretty interesting.
So, I mean, I just want to look into that a little bit just because, he stands right in the middle of the road. Everybody knows it. I'm sure our officers know and everybody else here that he's brave.
Mm-hmm. Yep, some people think he's kind of cute, but there's a lot of people out there that don't realize how mean turkeys are. Mean.
Yep.
They're not a nice bird. So,
And
okay.
the last thing that I got.
Oh wow, Mark, you've got a lot.
Yes. Today I got a call from We Energies for late payment because of, they said that I didn't pay my bill. And I want to make the public aware that it's a total scam. I talked to Commander Rowling. I talked to him today about this. Public, you know, so I mean, it's, I had all the documentation on it that I had paid the bills and everything, and they wanted immediate payment, otherwise they're gonna come shut power off is what they're threatening. So just make the public aware, I guess, that there's a lot of people out there that are doing some things that, you know, at this time of the year, we need to keep our guard up and watch out for those type of things, so.
It happened to me as well, Mark, at my business.
Yeah.
Mark, that was brought up on TV a week ago, where be aware of the scam out there for late payment on our utility bills. Are you done, Mark?
Yep.
One more thing I'd like to mention, as if you people were watching TV Sunday, I'd like to congratulate our president and village manager for the good job they did on TV promoting our community. I think it was very nice to represent, for them to be representing our village, thanking the people from our safety officers right down to the janitors of whatever their job is. So I applaud you for doing a good job.
Thank you.
You know, we should
Okay. Anything else? Okay. Moving on. Number 8, oath of office for our new officer.
At this time, Mr. Turville, step forward.
only one at a time.
You only have to hire one at a time.
Yeah, I know.
Here with us tonight for the oath is Officer Mitchell DeTurville. He was hired on August 6, 2018. He's completed the field training program with our department and is currently on solo patrol. Mitch was an officer with Fox Crossing Police Department and a lifeguard instructor at the CP Center and the YMCA. Mitch is a graduate of UWGB with a Bachelor of Science degree and a graduate of Law Enforcement Academy at NWTC here in Green Bay. Just to show you the type of character that we've hired here, the time that he was employed at Fox Crossing, he remained as a lifeguard at the CP Center, and that was one employer that didn't want to see you to leave to come with us. So it shows the promising future that we've hired here. So at this time, we'll do the oath of office.
I do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin against all enemies, foreign and domestic. I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin. I will take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the Office of Public Safety Officer for the Village of Ashwaubenon, acting to the best of my ability.
And at this time, his father, David DeTurville, will be doing the pinning.
Just do it like the Marines. But be careful.
Yeah.
Here, it's not recording.
There you go.
Congratulations, Dad.
Good luck.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
If you guys want to stay for the budget meeting, you can. We thought that's what you came for. Okay. Action on the consent agenda, request to approve operators licenses, general fund financial report, October 2018 year-to-date, budgeted expenditures, and department reports for November 2018. Does anybody want anything pulled, or?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, we have number 10A, public hearing for the 2019 Village of Ashwaubenon proposed budget. Is there anybody here that would like to speak for or against the budget? It's a public hearing.
What was that question?
Is there anybody who would like to speak for or against the budget?
Well, I just want to, do you have a printout on it or anything? I'm here to budget hearing.
Okay.
So, I've never been to one of yours before, so let's just wait and see what you're not. You don't have anything to hand out on the
No.
budget.
That was at our previous meeting when we had,
Right.
that was at our previous meeting when we had our, we went through the budget with the Finance and Personnel Committee.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, this is the public hearing part of the budget. If you have any questions, you can ask them. If you have any questions now. Anybody like to speak for or against the budget? Okay, hearing none.
Move to close the hearing and return to the regular order of business.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, action items, 11A, action on resolution number R 11-1-18, a resolution appropriating the necessary funds for the operation of the government and administration of the Village of Ashwaubenon for the year 2019 and levying taxes on taxable property in the Village of Ashwaubenon. Now, before we start the resolution to adopt the budget, Trustee Zerbal does have a request. We had taken the $47,000 request out of the budget. It was requested for Argonne Park, and I know it's in their core plan and everything to get the new equipment, but we don't really know what's going to happen with that park, and I guess the reason why we took it out is because I would rather take it out this year, figure out what is going to happen with that park, with the fact that we have Titletown, we have Canterbury Park, and we have Gillis Park. And I thought we would just wait a year to see what would happen with that and maybe better figure out what it is we're going to need for that park. But Trustee Zerbal would like to speak to the issue.
Yeah, thanks, Mary. The park, Rex, when was the last time, or when was the equipment installed that's in there presently?
I would say 1991, 92.
So it's definitely used up its usefulness and possibly safety. That area is like a lot of that, the Titletown area and surrounding is becoming much more visible to not just our residents, but outside people coming in on special event weekends, Packer games, stuff like that. We've invested money on a pathway into the park. I'm all about options, and I understand there's other things we could possibly do with that area, but when I think about it, no matter what we would do to it, I think, first of all, that the playground equipment in some capacity needs to stay and obviously being updated. And it needs to stay in some capacity, whether it's as large of a footprint that it is now or maybe even something a little bit smaller. But whatever the options might come along, whether it's some kind of a pond or, we talked about dog parks in the past, things like that, I think there's plenty of room to keep that and really just keep it where it is, visible to the public. Somebody mentioned also in the past that, well, now we've got the playground area in a Titletown. This is more of a community thing to me. The Titletown area is more of a transient population coming in. It's a beautiful area, but I don't think it's, some of the residents, are they going to be comfortable letting their kids take a bike at certain ages to that park, to the Titletown area, compared to just going half a block up to the park that's his. Rex and the staff has done a great job of kind of piecemealing everything together. There was times last year where it was just not only structurally the playground equipment, but weeds were starting to grow. When you stepped into the play area, you would sink almost ankle deep in some areas, but Rex and the staff did a good job of going out there on occasions doing whatever they could to do. What we've noticed in our neighborhood is the park has been used less and less over time. Normally, especially in the summer, we've had most of the times multiple families using the area and just picnicking and things like that with their kids and playing on the swing sets, things like that, but we hardly see that anymore, and I think that's just, a lot of it is because it's not a good area to go in.
What are you asking for, Chris?
Pardon me?
What are you asking for?
Am I getting a little long here?
No.
No, while you're talking.
Just to bring the money, I think it was 47,000.
47,000.
Back into the budget.
Okay.
Back into this budget. It's something I understand too. We got options, or not options yet on the table, but if we can at least get the money back on there, so if nothing comes to fruition, with talking to some of the neighboring businesses, things like that, at least we've got it there to do something. I'm afraid if it's taken out, it's gonna sit for another year and possibly longer, and that just can't happen over there.
I mean, as park board chair, we've done through our core plan. Over the last 2 years, we've visited all the parks and evaluated the equipment that are in the parks, along with staff and everything. We've got a 5-year, or at least a 5 to 10 year plan in our core plan, and this has been brought down several years. And finally, this is the #1 priority that the park board has identified and submitted forward for doing this. And I think that, as Chris said, I think that whatever we do in that park, I think that it'll have some kind of playground equipment in it no matter what. And it is the oldest equipment that we have in the village. But on the other hand, I don't know if I'm just throwing out ideas here, and it's more of a staff question possibly, is what about our unspent liabilities that we got from this year? I mean, there's quite a bit in there. Instead of increasing our budget for next year, can't we earmark it out of that?
Yes, that's a possibility. We have not determined, we have some things that we'd like to move forward with. They'll come in December for board, but there would be enough money available in excess funds to do that. To designate 47,000 out of this year to apply against that project.
Is there more advantages to put it in next year's budget, or to keep it where it, put it in this year's budget?
I don't, not necessarily. I could go either way on it, to be honest with you, but if it just determines what it would increase, if there's no counter to reduce something, then the taxes would go up 2 cents. That's the equivalent. It'd be 2 cent increase to the tax rate.
If you designate it as excess, that way you should change our mind later. We can redesignate it as something else. So you would have it tied up, and you would just leave it tied up until you decided you needed to do something else or you made a different decision. If it's in the 2019 budget and it's not spent, it would potentially become excess for 2019. And then you've increased your tax rate without necessarily needing to do so. So there's advantages and disadvantages to both.
So either way, it could be, if we put it in designated in excess funds from this year, it could be redesignated not playground equipment if we decide to do something else. Or if we do it in next year's budget, we increase the budget by 2 cents.
Correct.
Correct.
I would rather see it in this year's budget then.
Next year's?
This year's budget.
This year, yeah.
And not
Excess
increase the tax rate.
2018.
Mean 2019?
No.
I think he's saying
Oh, take it out
2018
of surplus
excess
funds?
funds.
Well, I think I'd rather see it put in the budget for 2019, and I'm going to make a motion to include $47,000 in the 2019 budget for the purposes of what's needed at Argonne Park. I just think for kids, man, we spend so much money on different things. There's nothing more important. So I'd like to see it specifically designated. If we don't need it, as Allison said, if we don't need it in 2019, so be it. Then it'll become excess at the end of that year. So I'm going to make a motion to include that in the 2019 budget.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a motion and a second, but before we vote on it, I'm going to say that I still stand with how I feel about it. I just don't know what's going to happen in that park, so I would prefer to put it to next year's discussion. I'd rather discuss it and figure out what's going to happen than designate the $47,000. So I will vote no on it. But I understand, I don't disagree with, we've had this conversation, I don't disagree that, that something isn't needed there, but I just don't feel that we have had the conversation of what is needed there. And that is why I'm going to vote no. It has nothing to do with the park. I'm all about the parks for the kids, and I just don't feel that we really know what it is yet that we need. So that's why I will vote no. So.
You know, I believe it was at the plan board that we discussed this, and I asked Rex, is the number of kids at that particular park down because of Titletown's playgrounds that they have? And I was surprised to hear that it had increased as far as popularity of being used. On events, all the parks surrounding the Packer parking area per se, you got Albinger Park, you got one over on Ori Lane, one up right off the park, or Packer Skylark, I believe it's called. They all get used through event games. It's probably one of the nicest places to park in the warm weather because a lot of people use that as tailgating per se. They got the things there that they need to take care of themselves during these events, and I think that Argonne wouldn't be the worst place to spend a couple bucks, but I have to go along with Mary a little bit on the future of that park because of Titletown and what they're going to do. But I think in time, I noticed when those parks were, the parks that I just talked about, had the newer equipment in it. I have seeing one of the parks my wife takes care of, the increase in children has come up quite a bit just by driving around these parks. So we got to spend the money sooner or later, and I guess if you people figure out how or whenever you want to spend the money, I'd agree with it. And if at all it would help, I think I'd go along with Chris's proposal right now.
You know, I'd like to see the park developed and everything, and I don't like to see the tax rate go up, and we can do that by designating the funds out of unspent funds this year. So that's my rationale for keeping it where it is. I hate to, I don't want to vote against spending it out of next year's budget for the chance of losing it, but I'm trying to just say I would rather it out of not increase the taxes, have the project there, and if we change our minds, we change our minds. We can reallocate the funds to whatever else we wanted to in the park if we want, change the equipment if we want to downsize it or increase the trails or make it a dog park or whatever we decide to do, we can use those funds for that. But I would rather use it out of this year's unspent funds than increase next year's budget. Period. That's the only reason I would vote against it. And I hate to do that because I want to see it happen.
Well, to me, I mean, to put the money in just because people think that we're not going to do something, I think that's bad budgeting. Everybody that, is in this room realizes the value of that park. They realize that something needs to be done there. I just don't know what it is, and I'm not going to budget money until I know what it is. So that's why I will vote no.
Well, right now, it's equipment for the kids to play on. Now, if numbers have gone down in that park, maybe it's because it's run down equipment. If we put the equipment back in there like we did in Waterford and Sand Acres and some of the other parks that are very popular, uber popular with the new equipment that they have in there, you probably see it explode again.
Mark, I thought that Rex said that the number of kids in the park has increased over last year, is how I understood his. I did not hear it say it went down. Am I correct, Rex?
Is that for the Parky stuff, Rex?
Well, parkies aren't in that park anymore. We took them out of that park at the time because of the closeness to Canterbury and stuff as well.
Gary, it was the park program attendance numbers were up in 2018 compared to the last several years. So
They were up.
they were up,
Because
yes.
I questioned you on it, thinking that it was down because of Titletown, and you corrected me on that.
Are we more flexible, Mark, if we took it out of this year's excess, are we more flexible what we do with that money than if we reintroduced it into the budget?
I think you're flexible either way you do it, but we can do it without increasing taxes is my main point, I guess.
Yeah. I could support you on that, yeah.
It's, what are we asking? What'd you say, Chris? 47,000 was the number?
Yes.
Okay. It's funny when we can have a special event come up, and I'm thinking of a $10,000 bill we had taken out of excessive funds for the dark store, and we had money to do that. And I have to agree, $56,000 is a little bit more money, but it seems like we can always come up with some money for stuff like this with excessive funds. I'm not for raising taxes for that. I'll be real honest with you there. So if there is excessive amount of money that we could get on this year's budget, I'd go along with you on that also.
Okay,
It's 46, Gary, not 56.
47.
47.
Or
Or
47.
47, all right. I was up one column, okay.
Okay, so the motion that's on the floor is to put $47,000 back into the 2019 budget, which would raise the tax rate by 2 cents. Hearing the discussion we had, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
No. Okay, that motion failed.
I'll make a motion that we earmark $47,000 out of excess funds out of 2018 budget and earmark it for Argonne Park.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to earmark $47,000 in excess funds from 2018 for Argonne Park. Any discussion on that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
No. And like I said, I understand where everybody's coming from, and I have no problem designating or getting money for Argonne Park. The way it's done is,
Okay, let's move on.
okay.
So 2 noes.
2 noes.
Okay.
Okay, now.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution R11-1-18.
That is, oh. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve Resolution R11-1-18, which is the budget for 2019. Everybody understands?
Is there any, I mean, is there anything that you want to add to this, Greg, or as far as discussion?
No, this would basically clarify or put us right back to where we were after our budget meeting. So we have a total levy of $12,548,221, and it would result in a tax rate of $5.62 per thousand.
Okay.
I would just like to add to this that in this budget, one of the things that we did that a lot of people behind the scenes might not have noticed, we've had money for staff at coming out of our TIF dollars, and when we've had TIF meetings with other local leaders, they've asked about the amount of money that we've had on there. So we have actually, how much did we take out, Greg? 200?
150,000.
150,000. So we're backing those dollars out so that more of that is coming out of the general budget. And so that's a good thing. And we added a person in Park and Rec. We have been down a person since Ron retired, since 2006. So we added a person back into Park and Rec, and so we did some good things. So, anybody like to add anything else?
I would like to make just 2 comments on it. I don't need any discussion on it. I would have liked, and I've requested it for a couple of years, of having somebody or more done in the ordinance control people to make sure that our ordinances are enforced. We haven't seen nothing in the last couple of years, and something I was made aware of, and I'm just going to keep it real brief. I was told that there has been no raises for people that are on duty over the weekends and haven't had a raise in years to come for just being on call for the weekend. So I just want to make that known, and I don't need any comment on it.
Okay, we'll take those into consideration, Gary. Okay. So we have a motion to approve Resolution R11-1-18. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, 11B, discussion and possible action on Brown County Fairgrounds Master Plan Approval Request. Rex.
There's been a Brown County Fairground Committee that has been working on a master plan to redo the Brown County Fairgrounds, which you have in your agenda packet. Just briefly looking at the map, there's a tear down involved in several of the fairground buildings. New buildings are planned to be built as funds become available along Broadway, along with a brand new center aisle midway area, actually. The gray area is the asphalt, and then the white area around it, it would be where all the carnival rides and the vendors and trailers for games would be set up. As that, they have increased their parking area on the southern part of the fairgrounds along Broadway, and they are planning to move overnight camping areas to the north. Those brown spurs off of the pathway, the roadway, fairly close to the Fox River, as a revenue source. I was asked to be a representative for the village on this committee. A lot of input from the Fairground Committee. Ashwaubenon's whole point of being on there is connectivity between several different larger area attractions, being Ashwaubenon Park immediately to the north. As such, there's a lot of discussion on trail systems, trying to expand that trail system along the Fox River, going into the fairground area from Ashwaubenon. We met with New Water a couple of weeks ago, still got their, we had good discussion on putting the trail behind the New Water building, and into the fairgrounds area, all the way down to the boat launch and up to the Pier Ice Center. So as such, Park Board's taking a look at this. The trail is still planned on being along the riverfront. And then we still would be granting, I guess, overflow parking permission if there are larger events at the fairgrounds, such as the Brown County Fair, or sometimes larger festivals. We've always asked for a certificate of insurance, and we've worked real well with Matt Crease, who's the Assistant Park Director for Brown County, as well as Marv, who runs the fairground area. And so Park Board did take a look at this plan, felt comfortable with it, and recommended approval to the village board for discussion.
I attended several of those meetings. Also, the biggest thing that I wanted to see was the connectivity on the trail, and that's really all we kind of have control over anyway. So,
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's nice.
So what Brown County is looking for is, in concept, approval of this plan so they can bring this forth to their own governing body for potential funding in the near future.
So Rex, so I get this right, because it's funny, you people have been meeting for over a year on this, and this is the first time, actually I learned it through the media on what the county is expecting. And now tonight this comes in front of us, and this is the only explanation we're getting out of it. So all you want from us is approval in concept on what we're looking at right now.
That is correct.
It is not making anything go forward other than working on what we're looking at right now.
Correct. By approving this, you'd be saying, yes, you agree. I mean, the relationship between Brown County and Ashwaubenon as it relates to the plan really would be the connectivity of the trail along the waterfront.
Okay, all right, and that has been the wish for a long time, is connecting that trail. That's the only obligation that we're looking at here right now, as far as any part of Ashwaubenon say so.
That is, to my knowledge, that is correct.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we approve the Brown County Fairgrounds Master Plan proposal.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second to approve the Brown County Fairgrounds Master Plan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 11C, action on member appointment for Park and Rec Board. We had to have an individual, because of her work schedule, had to resign from the Park Board. So I had 2 applicants that came and applied to join the Park Board. And we chose J.C. Dansman. She is an Ashwaubenon graduate. She actually teaches some classes at the community center. She lives in Ashwaubenon, so I need approval of her on the Park Board. She's excited to get going.
I'll make a motion to approve Darcy.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve.
I have a comment before you vote, please. This lady may be the finest lady in the village. I have no clue who she is. We used to get a sheet attached to these appointments. It showed a little bit of who it was. Nothing personal, no social security numbers or anything like that, but at least it showed this person why they were interested and what their involvement with the community is. I mean, I don't know this person from, I was going to say from Adam, I suppose I should say from Eve, but it's an important, the Park Board is really important. I think some discussion this evening pointed that out. So in the future, and I've asked this before, and I don't know if it was still when Mike was around, Mary, or I think it was, but anyway, the last time this came up, I think Mike was still the president. I'd like to see that sheet that's attached to these appointments. I think it's important we know who this person is, at least basically.
Okay. Good point.
One question about her, and I don't know if I have the answer or not. Is she the lady at the community center that orchestrates the activities for exercising?
That I don't know exactly what.
Rex,
I think that's Lisa
I think
Mark.
you know where I'm going with this.
JC is an instructor who teaches on Monday and Wednesday evenings only.
In the evenings?
In the evenings, yeah.
Who does the morning? And I'm only going back to knowing that we do concert in the park cooking. Who's the lady in the morning that does exercises on Wednesdays through the summertime? Is that not the same lady without
No,
using
no,
name?
it's a different
It's not.
person.
Okay, then I don't know who she is.
Okay.
I know that Mary has contacted me, and we went over the applicants and stuff, but I mean, I don't know, I didn't know either one of them either, but I
Right.
mean,
Right. I contacted Mark as the chair of the park board. I contacted Rex. So, had discussions with them, so. Okay, we had,
The good thing is we had multiple people,
yes,
good candidates.
yes, very good.
Yes.
It was a tough decision.
They were both good candidates.
Yep. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 11D, request to waive December premium for active employees enrolled in the HSA health plan. Allison?
she's playing a Ken.
Our HSA plan is running at about 70% of budget. Our PPO plan is running about 96, 97% of budget. So in the past, in order to kind of level off the budgeting, we have done a December forgiveness for the plans where it's appropriate. In large part, it helps the village because we pay the majority of those plan costs in both instances. This particular year, because we are running basically on schedule, if you will, with the PPO plan, we would suggest not doing any forgiveness with respect to that plan. However, with the HSA, we would recommend doing a forgiveness for that, and that's just over $32,000, which you see in your green sheet. And because for most employees on that plan, the village pays 100% of that, that's why it's all revenue to the village. But generally, when we've done it in the past, because there is no added incentive, if you will, to the employee side, we have done a contribution to their health savings account on behalf of by the employer. So what we're recommending this year is that there would be a contribution of 100, 200, and 300 based on single employee plus one and family into the employee account. When we've done it on the PPO side, the employee is not making their percentage contribution, which is roughly equivalent to those amounts. So that's kind of how we arrived at that.
You already had, you have the new one that's been approved as part of the agenda, right? Yeah, okay.
Okay, any,
I'll move to approve then the request to waive the December premium for active employees as the amendment issue, because it's already been approved.
okay,
I'll second that. I always have the comment about insurance. Find your best insurance man and let him guide you through that. And Allison, right now, you're my insurance man, so I like saving money.
okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the request to waive the December premium for active employees enrolled in the HSA health plan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 12, items for next agenda.
Can we, do we know when that's gonna be? Because it falls on Christmas.
December 18th?
We're meeting on the 18th.
Thank you.
I might be here.
Thank you.
December 18th at 6:30. And no meetings on the 11th, except
Regular time?
So finance and personnel and park board, we don't know if we're gonna have them yet?
at this point, there's nothing listed for park board or finance and personnel.
Okay.
I think we thought if something came up at the last minute that they could perhaps be done just before the board meeting, but at this point, there's nothing on there and we don't anticipate anything coming.
Will we have a public works meeting next week?
We will, we have several items for that.
No plan commission, though.
No plan commission yet, no,
Okay.
no plan
Well,
commission. And so
we're
Public
supposed-
Works would be moved up.
We're supposed to have a park board meeting because Rex is bringing us cookies.
Whoa,
Oh, Rex, you didn't say that.
You're the
That
cookie
was
maker.
not on our
I hope he's
list.
not baking them, is he?
Hey, the two, you'll have to bring them to the meetings well, you'll have to bring them to Village Board on December 18th when everybody's here.
No problem.
Okay. If you have any items, then just give the office a call. Okay, number 13, closed session items.
During the meeting, the village board of the Village of Ashwaubenon may convene into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin Statute Section 19.851E for the purpose of possible discussion and action on deliberating or negotiating an amendment to the development agreement for parcels VA-460-P-114 and VA-460-P-114-1 related to tax incremental district numbers 3 and 5 where competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. Also, Wisconsin Statute Section 19851F for the purpose of possible discussion and action on considering employee requests for leave of absence and financial, medical, social, or personal histories or disciplinary data of specific persons, preliminary consideration of specific personnel problems, or the investigation of charges against specific persons except where parens B applies, which, if discussed in public, would be likely to have a substantial adverse effect upon the reputation of any person referred to in such histories or data or involved in such problems or investigations. The village board may thereafter reconvene in open session pursuant to Wisconsin Statute Section 19.85 sub 2 to report the results of the closed session and consider the balance of the agenda.
Move to go to closed session.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to go into closed session. Voice roll, please.
Trustee Paul.
Yes.
Trustee Zerbal.
Yes?
Trustee Mark Williams.
Yes.
Trustee Bukowski.
Yes.
President Kardowski.
Yes.
We are in
Thank you.
closed session.